Om. 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 Om Gananang Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavina Mupamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvan Note Sida Sadhanam Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebher Vajinivati Dhinama Vitravatu Vagdevyai Namaha Om Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Mokshamulam Gurur Kripa. Over to you, Rohit, next.
Please continue to sit with your eyes closed. Bring into your mind the image of your Ishta Devata, your Kula Devata, your family deity, your Guru, and seek their blessings as we continue today's class. You could continue with your eyes closed. For a few minutes, we'll be chanting the mantra pushpam. So Sridhar ji and Priya ji, if you could chant in the alternative style, one line each. Till Chandramava.
Yopam pushpam beta pushpavan prajavan pasuman bhavati.
Chandramavapam pushpam pushpavan prajavan pashuman bhavati.
Ya evam veta yopamayatnam veta
आयतनवान् भवति.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.
As and when you feel complete, so we open your eyes. So welcome once again. So here's what we're going to do in today's session. I hope you can see my screen. We look at what is Vedic chanting. Why should we learn chanting? What does it? What has it? What does it mean? And why should we chant? What does it take to learn Vedic chanting? So when we get into something new, we need to know the effort as well. So we look at what does it take, and we have a lot of people from the previous batches here, so they'll be sharing their experiences as well, and then we'll go into the learning part. So for attending today's session, we'll at least learn two things, which is Vedic chanting rules. Priyaji will take us through some rules, and Sridharanji will take us through some chanting styles. So what are the different ways, Prakriti and Vipruti styles of chanting, Vedic chanting? And then we'll take some questions from you and we'll look at next steps. So not all of you might choose to start learning the Vedas after today's session. But for those who do, we'll look at what are the next steps through this. So we have all of these steps today to go through. And we will do this all with the spirit of Samvo Manamsi Janatam, with our minds put together, maybe understand. None of us say that we know everything or we know a lot. Also, all of us say we are just starters and just starting off and know a little. We know a little more, so therefore we teach what we know. And knowledge comes when all of us work together and with the blessing of our gurus, Shri Guru Babaji, Maheshwarnath Babaji, Madhukarnath Babaji as well. We walk on their directions. So it's all in the spirit of Swadhyaya, which is learning about ourselves, and chanting as a vehicle for that. This slide I've taken from the Blossom Foundation in the US, and how they define chanting is they have children's classes. For us, we could look at as a journey to go inwards to touch our being, and the goal is the goal of self-transformation. And for children to explain it is chanting to connect God with God through sound. The Vedas are a huge body of work, and we can only touch the surface in one lifetime. This is how the classification is formally Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. How they are classified and so on is quite complex. So we'll not get into that. What we are learning here is within the Yajurveda, the Shukla Yajurveda. So this small part here is what we'll be learning, the third box, and within that, Shukla Yajurveda. So all that we're learning is from there. And each of the Vedas have the Samhita part, which is the mantras, then the Brahmanas, which is the ceremonial rituals, the Aranyakas are the ones which were in the forest, so which is the more deeper understanding of the rituals, and then the Upanishads. So what we are learning is the Samhita Pata. So within the Yajurveda, within the Shukla Yajurveda, Samhita Pata is what we would be learning. So we started off the previous batch with learning the Rudram, Chamakam, and a few other Suktams. Suktams are dedicated to particular forms of nature or deities, and they are more popular parts of the Vedas. We won't get into all of this detail about the Vedas, but suffice to say that it's a huge body of work, and there's only one small part that we'll be touching the surface of that part to get an idea of what this is. Now, there's some themes from the Vedas. So, what are these themes? What do these contain? It's okay if there are a large body of work and so on, but what do these themes contain? I think the slides got changed. Just give me a second. So what are these themes in the Vedas? So I'll just give some examples of some of the themes and chant some of the one small part of the mantra in each of these themes. And then we will look at taking inputs from all the other teachers. The first one is a convocation address, for example. So in the Taittiriya Mantra Kosha, in the Yajurveda, that is where for the first time you see Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. This is a convocation address from one of the rishis. He's making the convocation address to the students. There are some other mantras which seek protection, purification, guidance, and illumination. For example, in the Viraja Homa mantra, there is one which says, illumine all the layers of my being. For example, it says, Prano Pyana Vyana Udana Samana Me Shuddhantan Jyotiraham Viraja Vipapma Bhujas Swaha. So that is the second part. There are some very ecstatic portions of the Vedas as well. For example, within the Taittiriya Mantra Kosha itself, there is a rishi who is just suddenly illumined, and he goes on top of a mountain. He or she goes on top of a mountain and cries with joy and declares to the entire world with that, with that, with the fullness of experience. He says, Yohamasmi Brahmahamasmi Ahamasmi Brahmahamasmi Ahamevaham Mam Juhomisva. So similarly, in the Purusha Suktam, there is an explanation of the creation of the universe. What is that Virata Purusha? What are his arms? What are his feet? And so on. And so on. There are multiple themes like this. So what we get through this is we get to experience a part of the consciousness of the rishi who downloaded the Vedas. So it isn't, we don't say that the Vedas were written or composed. We say they were seen. So therefore they're called, the rishis who saw the Vedas are called mantra drishtas, or they are the drishtas or the seers. They saw the Vedas, or you can call, they downloaded the Vedas from the universe. And these are some of the topics that they touch. So with that, I'll request Priya and Sridharji to share a few lines before we move ahead on what has touched you about some of the themes of the Vedas. Just a few lines.
Shri sir, you can go first.
Yeah, sure. So as Rohit Shanaji and Priyaji had talked about the Vedas, and of course he has put some of the sentences over there about the Vedas, and also the way how he had introduced quickly about the complete essence of it. So for me, Vedas is like the Purusha Suktam, whatever Rohitji was talking about. If you have heard about it, would have been like from the beginning itself. It talks about Sahasra Sirisha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyadittasangulam, which is like a Virata Purusha who has everything in him and everything is him, is the way how you can do the way to and fro as well. So every being in this universe is him and he is the universe. So that is what is exactly talked about in these four sentences, like Sahasra Sirisha, the person who has thousands and thousands of heads, right? And the person who is beyond these planets that we know, which is of around 9 planets, right? So like that galaxy might have multiple. So in the same way, he is actually saying that Atyadasangulam. So it is just 10 inches above this Bhumi, which means it includes everything other than Bhumi. So he is much beyond this Bhumi, much beyond the space, much beyond the Swarupam. And finally, he talks about what is the face. You might have all heard about it, like what is the face of a Purusha, what is arms of the Purusha, what is basically the feet of the Purusha, and many other things, the body of the Purusha and stuff like that. So that actually captures my imagination from the perspective that everything is him and he is in everybody or everything on the other hand, right? That is the point, including the non-living thing having a conscious is what it is talking about, even though we all are talking about it according to the logic and the human capacity. Unfortunately, we have not realized, and so we are like this here today to seek the presence of him in every aspect of living and non-living being. So hopefully, as we carry forward with our own life and the questionnaire on the self-realization, hopefully we should be able to realize self itself. I hope this journey is towards that, and I'm very happy to be the part of this journey. Thank you so much. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thanks, Sridharji.
That was so beautifully put, Sridhar sir. So the part of chanting that I like is there's something that sir has said recently that, and I'm just reading it out. Chanting has a certain taste that comes over the years as you chant. Once you begin to have that taste, you will not want to stop chanting. So this is just so true for all of us who chant. So many people here who've been chanting. It becomes like almost becomes like an addiction, because you get something out of it that you don't realize what you're getting. But at some point in time, it aids your meditation, it aids your kriya. And especially for all of us who are there for the Rudram, the distinction between the chanter, the chant, who is chanting, and that whole process just disappears. So at some point, there's no distinction. And my favorite part of chant is actually a couple sentences from Mahanarayana Upanishad, which says, Hambasya pare bhuvanasya madhye nakasya prishthe mahato mahiyan. And this just to me summarizes everything that Sir speaks about in his Upanishads, that it is greater than the greatest, smaller than the smallest, and so close to you that you don't realize it yourself. So this part of the chanting is something that just personally appeals to me. But to me, it just aids. It's a very useful tool, a very useful adjunct for what we are all going through and for what all of our goal is. So that distinction between self and the other, at some point in time, it aids in diminishing that. Rohit, you can go ahead.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sridharji and Priyaji, for this. What I heard is also Vedic chanting is what chanting does to you as well, and what it means to you. So I'd love to hear from a few of us and what their journey has been. So somebody who's started about a year and a half back and with no understanding of Sanskrit or no prior background. So Vivek ji, can I request you to share first with the lovely little Zoya, right? Yeah, if you could unmute.
Yeah. Namaskar, everybody. I am Vivek Mahendru. And thanks to Rohit ji and a chance get together at a satsang in Delhi. The topic of Rudram chanting came up and he volunteered. He took the risk of teaching so many of us without knowing what our backgrounds are. But his dedication, and I think we just happened to be in the right place at the right time. My Hindi was atrocious, but I think the whole, I think my love affair with Rudram was when I had heard it at the Shivratri at Madnapalli. And that when I was amazed, yaar, ye log kaise karte hain, how do they get along, how do they find it out? But over the last 1 year, I practiced and it wasn't easy. But if I can do it, I think everybody can do it. That's one part. I think the other part, in all humility, I must say, my quest for spiritual growth has, in a way, this has the learning part has opened my mind in so many ways that it's not fair. I would not be able to do justice to the feeling and the expansion of the mind that has happened because of this. So if I'm sure that there will be high moments and there will be low moments, there will be tough moments. But if you persist, then you will overcome them and you will go a long way. Well, imagine sitting for 3 hours and 4 hours of me chanting Rudram and the part of the Chamakam. I could not have imagined in my wildest dreams. And that happened at the Pran Pratishtha this time in Madnapalli. It was great. It's absolutely awesome. And I wish you good luck. I wish you Godspeed. And I'm sure each one of you who choose to do it, will be able to do it. If we are over here by divine force and by grace, it is not it is not just by luck. There's more. There's so much more to it that is hard to fathom. Let me put it this way. Well, I wish you good luck, and thank you, Rohitji, for the opportunity and for being our guide. And we have been able to connect with a lot of wonderful, like-minded people because thanks to Rudram, it has come a close-knit community of the chanters in Delhi, and it's beautiful. It's hard to put it in words. Thank you, Rohitji.
Thank you so much. Sinaji, would you like to share your experience?
Yes, thank you, Lotsa. I joined the Rudram class in 2021 with under Sridharan sir. And when I joined, I had no idea what I was getting into because I don't come from any such background where I had never even heard Sri Rudram, nor have I ever chanted before. I do have a Sanskrit background, but nothing, to support chanting, and no music background either. But then when I joined, I didn't really think much about what it's going to lead me into, but I started to enjoy it. And a lot of effort was also there. Like you have to be listening to it to get that sense of the music of the rhythm of it. There were a lot of effort that had to go in, but it was worth it. One thing that I realized is that as I became part of this group and we are meeting every week. Initially, there were a lot of emotions. Like sometimes you feel like, no, why am I doing this? Sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm tired of this. Lots of emotions I have been through. But in the end, you overcome all of that, and you start to enjoy what you're chanting, the vibe of the whole group, and also you start to observe changes in your life. You start to observe your circle of friends are changing, your attitude is changing, how you observe things, many different changes, the different incidents, all that is happening in your life, you start to view them differently, and it all happens very organically, nothing that you are trying to consciously do something. It is just happening. You get the right information, right time, everything seems to just move in place. So for all people who are just beginning or coming in new, what I would say is, like Vivek sir just mentioned, you don't come here by your choice. You are being brought here for a reason. So if you stick to it and that is where the divine leads you to, but the effort is yours. So you got to put in a little bit of effort. There you have got wonderful teachers, they will help you. And at any time you feel overwhelmed, it's always good to talk, because you can get the help. There is no way that you can't do it. Everybody can do it. Whoever is over here, who's present here, everybody can chant. And it's just commitment, listening and practicing and taking the help when it's required, but you can really do it. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I want to once again thank Sridharan sir for the effort he has put in all of us. He has really put his hard work into all of us and have brought us to this level. So I want to thank him personally again for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sinaji. I'd like to request Shipra ji to speak about her experience. So she's become so good at chanting. I taught her, but now she's better than me and she can teach me much better now. And not only that, she's also an Abhyasa buddy and teaches a group of people and worked with them very intensely to prepare them for the Prana Pratishtha chanting. So if you could share about your experience in both those areas.
Namaste everyone. First I welcome everyone aboard to this new journey. I hope and pray that you all will sail through smoothly through this. And for me, learning to chant and understand Rudram has been a rigorous and really a blissful journey. But still, I feel there is a long way to go for me. And first of all, I want to begin with a heartfelt gratitude to Sir, and then our teacher Rohitji, who because of whom we, the Delhi NCR people, have really learned to chant so well. And my journey began in April 2023 when I went to Shivratri, went for Shivratri in Ujjain. It was a call for me. I thought that yes, when I saw the group of people chanting, I was not acquainted with them, but still somehow I took. First, actually, I met Sridhar sir there, and I asked him. So he gave me his number, but it couldn't work out. Apparently, when I came back, Rohitji started, Vivekji gave the detail that he started the Delhi NCR group. So it worked out, and finally I joined Rohitji's group, Delhi NCR. Please forgive me because my throat is not very good. So, it was really a pleasure to learn Rudram with this very talented group which we have in Delhi NCR. I realized that we have, during this journey, I realized that we have a tremendous potential. We have tremendous energy. What Sir says that we really need to tap it somehow with awareness. Automatically, everything starts happening. And for the newcomers also, I would say that never ever get, depressed or something. There will be moments that you will feel nahi ho raha hai, but then it will happen. It happens. If you really do the practice, if you really are sincere with your practices, because practices are required. You have to do lots of practice every day, even after you learn from the teacher. Every day, at least 30 minutes you have to give for practicing, which I have learned from the teachers. Teachers only give, so I'm just telling you. So to be perfect, I don't know whether we are perfect or not, but yes, to be close to perfection, we need to practice. That is there. And then this learning Rudram, another thing which Sir always says, Sangha, which it gave us. Sangachadham, Sangvadadham, Sangum, Anansi Janat. The Sir gave us this, and this Sangha, which beautiful Sangha, which we got not only from Delhi NCR, but US, Bangalore. We came to know so many beautiful people. That is also a very important thing. It's not only learning Rudram, but we came to know a lot of people who are like-minded. So that's what, and as while chanting also, it helped me to do a lot of swadhyay. And when I chant, I don't know how many times I have chanted so far, infinite number of times. But every time I chant, I feel that it's the first time I'm chanting. It's not that, one gets bored or something. So it gives a lot of inner joy and bliss. It takes me to some other plane only when I start chanting, when I chant Rudram. So as a Abhyasa Buddy, as Rohitji said, it was a very difficult thing when Rohitji said that, yes, now some of the people are selected as Abhyasa Buddies and we have to hold practice sessions for others. It was not that we were something very good or something, but yes, it had given us a sense of responsibility that we had to, carry on. So it really helped us first when we are holding practice sessions for others. First, we ourselves needed to be well versed. So that was another thing which gave us, and it helped us a lot in cutting off our ego also as an Abhyasa buddy. So what I strongly believe in, that just I just want to end with this. The fact is that I am nothing, I do nothing, and I want nothing. We have come from nothingness and we are going to nothingness. So I have realized this nothingness in this journey so far. So although there is a long way to go, maybe there will be more enlightenment and awarenesses. So thank you. And I really wish all of you a very best of luck, and everybody will be able to chant, but please practice. That is the one thing which is whenever you start learning. Thank you so much, Rohit ji, Sridhar ji, and Priya ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Radhika Prasad ji, are you here? Yes, you are here.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Rohit ji. Thank you for giving me this chance to speak. So I joined the group with Sridharan sir in Bangalore in 2021, around the time that Seena ji also joined. But of course, she is way ahead of me right now because of her Sanskrit knowledge. At that time, I had no idea of what Rudram was at all. In fact, I don't think I'd ever heard it properly once also. Maybe a little bit smattering of it here and there in temples. But somebody had looked at my horoscope and said that Rudrabhishekam, you must get it done regularly. So then when I saw this on the Satsang group flyer, there was a flyer. I said, if Rudrabhishekam is good, then maybe learning chanting is even better. So I signed up. And I didn't realize how difficult it was. I mean, I really owe my gratitude, big gratitude to Sridharan sir. He has been so patient with people like me especially. I have argued and fought with him, saying that you've been too fast with me. You're going too fast. Are you teaching learners? Are you teaching experts? All that I have said to him, and then apologized also. He has been very kind, very patient, and very sweet to me. And I have found it very difficult. In fact, sometimes I called up a friend of mine who joined with me and then gave up and stopped saying it. Then I said, I'm also joining you. I can't do it anymore. She said, no, you're sounding good while you say it. One or two, you do it. So that was the turning point. I just got back to it, and practice is very important. Listening and practicing, as Sridharan sir says, listening repeatedly and to the experts on YouTube or whoever your teachers suggest, and then saying it along with them, and then practicing on your own, and then coming back and listening to them and saying it along with them and practicing on your own. That has to be done repeatedly. But once you get over that hump, I have to say, I agree with Priyaji that chanting is an addiction, and you can't stop, practicing regularly. It just draws you in. And I would agree with Sinaji, who said that we are whoever gets selected to do this and whoever is drawn here is drawn not by choice, but there's a force pulling you here. And please honor that force and do this and go over that hump and try your best to get over it. And it's just practice. It's just practice. That's all. Some need to practice more, like me, and some like Sinaji need to practice less. That's all. It's just practice. And one thing I have to say, a few things about it. Not only this kind of practice make your swaras spashta. I mean, it clears it gives a tongue an exercise. It helps you keep alertness and helps you pay attention to details. Because if you don't pay attention to detail, you miss one swarita or one udata, and it's a beautiful brain exercise. Even if you're like, you say, oh, what is this? I'm already so old and I don't need to learn all this now. But, it keeps your brain very active. And I'm sure the neurologist will say the prefrontal lobe gets very activated during this. And in addition to that, I felt that my life itself started getting sorted out with this. I mean, a lot of things fall in place, get aligned, which is, I think I can't help but owe it to chanting practice and repeated chanting. And I would say that I got rewarded with a trip to Kedarnath 1 year after learning this chanting, and I owe it to that. And that trip was a very smooth trip, and I owe it to the chanting itself. I feel the Lord rewarded me with that trip. And the ultimate, of course, was going to the Prana Pratishtha and chanting it there. I cannot even I can't believe that we chanted for 1.5 days and didn't come out tired. So I think this invigorates us. So please don't give up. If you are getting into this, please don't give up. Please keep at it. It's very good. If to say the least, as a brain exercise, and at best, it can change your life forever. So please go ahead and get into this chanting practice that's the group is offering. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sridharanji, once more for bringing me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that, Kavi. So we have, I just saw Deepanjali ji. I'm not sure if she's still here. Deepanjali ji joins us from Switzerland, and every Sunday she wakes up at 3 a.m. to join the session. So would you like to share your experience? Are you around, Deepanjali ji? I saw you here. Would you like to share your experience?
Yeah, I'm here. I just joined. I just came back to Switzerland yesterday, and I'm still settling down here after 3 months. So I was just, I have some guests also around today, so I'll be very short. Is that okay? Yeah, so my journey, I don't know when it started, but it got intensified with joining the NCR group. I was chanting on my own, not the Rudram, but I used to chant the Shiv Tandav and many other stotrams, which I learned even before I met Sir. And I met Sir a long time ago in 2011. So my journey with Sir also has been very long, and it has been a very beautiful, and it changed and transformed me completely. And Rudram added on to it, that I can say, because it gave me the strength of the Sangha, which I didn't have before that. And we came together. Also, the mountain retreat was formed. During this, everything happened. And Priya joined us, and she volunteered that she would teach us. I was so excited about it. I thanked her so much. I said, "You fulfilling one of my dreams, Priya ji. Please do that." And she formed our group. She volunteered to do it, and we started the Rudram before the Rudram in NCR started. But actually, what happened is she joined the Blossom Foundation as it came up, and then she was very busy with her own this thing, and and the timing was difficult for us to to get all the people together. And even now we don't have a group for Europe, so that is a problem. We don't have anybody like some but expert in our group to teach us. So I have learned it with the NCR team, and I used to get up like 2 in the morning, 3 regularly to do them, because that was the time it was done in India. So during even the winter time, it was like 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning, and I used to join. I just woke up and joined the class. That's how I did it. But I did it because something woke me up. I don't know what, but I'm really truly grateful to Sir for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to say that please don't give in any moment. Just carry on. The ways will be shown to you. You will be pulled in. You will get help. Don't worry. Just carry on. That's what I have to say. Thank you so much for letting me speak, Rohitji. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing.
Roji, can I?
Yes. Yeah, please go
ahead. I just want, मेरे को सर की एक बात याद आ रही है. Sir says that when you want to replace a habit with a good habit or with any other habit, you have to replace it with a good habit. And to me, when I and my wife Bela, we both started learning this. And sometimes we talk, and that the couple of 100 hours maybe we have put in, if we had not learned this, that would time, I don't know where would it have gone, some social media, something else, but nothing as constructive as this. So this was a beautiful interjection that was God sent to us. And we are very happy that thanks to Roji, I had told Roji in the beginning, yeah, there's too much for me, I'm giving up. And he said, yeah, please, just hang in. And the whole group's vibe was so good that one just flowed through. And now I look forward to reading the Sanskrit literature and knowing more about our various other suktams and other, beautiful things that are there out there. Thank you, Roger.
Great. Thank you so much, Yogesh. That reminds me, conversations have changed. It's not like let's go out for a meal, let's go out for a drink. No, let's go out for an Ekadasha Rudram. So we go and chant the Rudra for us on one Sunday, and all of us get together. So it's a celebration, and we get together for that, and we really look forward to it. And it's such a wonderful feeling after we chant in a group together. So with that, let's move ahead. We'll have some time for Q&A, and we'll also hear from the others as we move ahead. But we have a few more elements planned for today. We'll go ahead with that. If anybody else would like to share from the previous batches, please ping me, and I will, based on the time, I will call on to you. So this is what one of Sir's saying here. And Vivek ji knows Sir, I think, for the last 3 decades. And they've seen multiple, they've been part of the entire experience of building the Satsang Foundation. Right, Vivek ji?
I have been very blessed, very, very blessed. Yes. It has been a beautiful journey. Beautiful journey. Very, very beautiful journey. Thank you. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you. Thank you. So Sir says mantra japa is primarily for the mind and to go beyond the mind, and that is what Vedic chanting also helps us to do. Gives us a tarmac to go to higher levels of spiritual consciousness. So we look through this by chanting. What does it take to learn Vedic chanting? This is a quick video. I hope you can hear the. Are you able to hear the audio? Were you able to hear the audio?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So this is the journey of the Delhi Rudram group, and we have one tidbit from Bangalore as well. But this will just tell you what's the experience been like for anybody who's chanting from.
Shiva Tanu Shiva Vishwa
So with that, we'll start learning. Now that we're here, we'll start learning just a little bit to start off with. Priyaji, request you to take this part over, and we'll do this very briefly as an introduction to swaras. Why are swaras important? How does chanting have a neurological impact? And then we'll go to Sridharji, who will take us through what are the different styles of chanting. So we'll do both of these very briefly. We need some time for the Q&A and next steps.
Rohit, is this the last set that I had sent you? If not, I can share my slides.
Okay, it would be good if you could share yours.
I'll do that.
One before that.
Yeah, okay. Can you allow me to share, please?
Okay.
If you're not able to, then it's the last set that I sent you. If by any chance
you could start off. Let me share your slides, but you please start.
Okay, sounds good. So, so this is just a very brief overview of chanting, right? So what you saw is the end product of chanting. What you heard is the end product of chanting. So there is one thing which is learning chanting, but you're learning chanting. You're not learning how to sing. You're not learning how to say a shloka or a stotra. And there's a huge, vast difference. So what's the difference? We all know how saying a shloka is. So what's the difference between saying a shloka and actually learning how to do Vedic chanting? So in a shloka chanting, if you chant Lalita Sasnavam, Saundara Lahari, the bhava is very important. It is how you chant. If she will accept or he will accept whichever way you chant. Somebody might sing it in a certain way, somebody might chant it in another way, and that's all acceptable. But in Vedic chanting specifically, it's very, very important for every alphabet, every akshara, to be given its own due space in time, not a millisecond more and not a millisecond less. So when you say something like ka, kha is very different when you say something like ka, kha. So I'm sure the Delhi people will relate to this. I have a few Hindi-speaking people in my class. So when we say in Hindi, we say Bhagwan. And that is an absolutely no for Sanskrit chanting. It is Bhagavana. Because the space you gave Bha and the space you gave Ga has to be absolutely the same. So that's one very important thing to keep in mind, that how much space do you give each and every alphabet. The second thing is, any luck, Rohit?
Yeah,
okay, I still
it's coming.
Yeah? Okay, all right. So the second thing is knowing your alphabets very well. So your respective teachers will help you go through it. The pronunciation of alphabet. We all here, I think everyone speaks an Indian language here. So we all assume that we all know how to pronounce these alphabets, right? However, when we, any chance it can be bigger? Okay, great, thank you. However, when we say these alphabets have certain Uchcharana sthana. They have certain places in the oral cavity where they originate. And how they originate, where they originate from, makes a very, very big difference. So this is like a very common thing you must have seen from school, but I'm just going to assume we don't know this and then give you maybe a 2-second, because the goal of this is not for you to learn this now. The goal of this for you to understand what you will have to learn down the line. So it's very important when you say ka, ka, your origin is guttural. It's from the throat, and that's where that sound is produced. So the awareness of where that sound comes from is extremely important. For example, cha, cha. And so when you practice these alphabets, the spashtata of the alpha of the pronunciation, the time taken is extremely important in Vedic chanting, because then it's just not going to be effective. It's just going to be like any other sing-song pattern. So this just depicts the various places where the vyutpatti is, where the origin of those alphabets is. And I'm not going to go detail into this. That's part of your class when you start. Rohit, can you please show me the next slide? Yeah. So this depicts in a pictorial way, where does the sound come from? So it's important for non-Indian language speakers, but I don't think there's anybody here, like ta and tha, ta, tha, da, dhana, and ta, tha, ta and ta are distinctly different. And you, in your brain, you probably want to think you're overemphasizing the sound to produce an adequate sound. So Vyutpatti Sthana of the alphabets is one key for you to practice and learn as time goes by. And I will take the next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah. So that's one thing, right? And then you'll also come across concepts called short and long alphabets, Harasva and Dirgha. So ka is different from ka, kha is different from kha. So you want to make sure that that associated swara, the associated vowel, is properly enunciated. Because remember, point number 1, every alphabet demands its place in time and space. So the amount of time and space that you would give an alphabet like ka is different from that what you would give ka, kha is different from kha. So what is a Harasva alphabet? What is a short alphabet? What is a long alphabet? So you will come across these terms as time goes by, and that plays a very, very, very important role in chanting, because then you will see somebody else has chanted few milliseconds ahead of you, because you probably didn't do the long alphabet the way it was supposed to be done. The other concept you learn is what is Alpa Prana and Mahaprana. Prana is nothing here. Prana has got multiple meanings. In this case, prana is nothing but the effort you're taking to enunciate LP alphabet. Like ka is different from kha, which becomes easier, but ta is different from tha. So make sure that as you learn, don't wait for the end of your learning to go back and refix it. Because remember, you're sending these signals to your neurons each time, and they are forming connections. So you don't want, when you're forming the connections, you want to form the connection properly. You don't want to go back, and then unlearning is very, very difficult. So when you learn it, you make sure you learn it properly. And then comes the most important, the meat of, as we call the meat of chanting, is Udata, Anudata, and Swarita. So these are terms, again, you will learn as time goes by. This is just a slide for you to understand the complexity of chanting. So Uchair Udata, so Nichair Anudata. So it is when an alphabet is said at its base Shruti, you learn what a Shruti is. That's also going to come with time. When it's said as, for example, if I say Om, 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 the Om sounded different each time. Why did it sound different? The placement of that Om in the scale was different. So you learn concepts like what is an Udata, what is an Anudata, what is standing at base, what is going one step above, what is coming one swara below that. And there are so many tools, app-related tools to help you with that. If you have no concept of swara, and if you feel you're a terrible singer, it's okay, don't get discouraged. There are multiple ways you can figure that part of it out. The other thing I'd encourage you all is whenever you have these concepts that come in, make sure you understand why you're chanting. It should never be, oh, Rohit told me this, or Sridhar told me this, or Priya told me this. That's not the right way to learn. You need to learn, why is this Udata? Why is this, like, how did I just discover it, or did I make it up did we make it up? We didn't. So what is the textural basis of saying that ka is a guttural alphabet, that ta is supposed to be said between your teeth? So make sure you understand there is a whole science behind this. You don't need to go into the science, but if you have questions, ask these questions. Why am I pronouncing "t" this way? And why am I saying "p" this way? So, and all these rules have been written by grammarians like years and years ago. We are just following the rules. But if you have any questions, make sure you understand. And Rohit's going to explain and which part of the Upanishad this also comes from. So I will then take the next slide, Rohit. I'm hurrying up so I don't impinge on your time. Okay, so you will learn so many sandhis on your way. So there is actually a wonderful text now that's available by one of the other chanters whom you must have met in the Pranapratishtha, Ram. So he has actually given it to you that between two sentences, how do you change things? Which is an awesome way to start off. I would highly encourage you to understand why are you changing it, the way you're changing it. When you say Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, why does that Om Namo become Om Namo? So if you understand the concept behind it, then if you're given any form of Vedic text, any suktam, any Upanishad that has a swara, you know what to do. You know how to join these words. So I'll give you one example. I'm sorry if I'm rushing through. I'm just looking at the time and rushing through. So I'll give you one example, right? So when we say Gananam Tva, so the first word ends with makara. So it's Gana Anuswara, Gananam Tva. So Sandhi is nothing but joining of two alphabets to produce a different sound. So the first word ends with Gananam. The second word starts with ta, tva. So when Gananam Tva comes together, it becomes Gananam Tva. So by this process, not even knowing you're learning a sandhi, you'll end up learning all these rules of joining of alphabets. This is what is the nuance of Vedic chanting. This is why you come to a person to learn chanting. You can take a YouTube video. There are chanters 1,000 times better than any of us in this room. But it's always said you come to somebody to learn. These are small nuances that you want to learn as you chant. So your chanting is authentic. You're true to the chant. And you don't have to prove to somebody. It's not somebody is going to give you 3 claps on your back, which you will get anyways. But that's not the whole point of it. The point of it is you're authentic to what, this is apaurushaya. This has been written before any of us existed. So you are being true to that rishi who wrote it in a certain way. Now, why is it written in that particular way? That you have to ask that rishi who has written the chant. And when you chant it correctly, when you chant the ucharana, the udata, anudata, it does, and I think Radhika spoke about this, it does what is called neuroplasticity. It changes the neurons in your brain. We all have our own imprints, right? We all have our own vasanas, which is so different from one person to the other. Your vasanas are totally different from mine. My weak points, not weak points, but points that we all have to improvise on are very different. So you will see as you learn, there will be some places where you will be stuck, which is coming so easy to somebody else. And you find that this is a spot you're constantly stuck. And you really have to work a little extra in that space. And the reason you have is because your set of neurons are different. The neuroplasticity that you require is different from the one your neighbor who's chanting requires. So this is just such a subtle process, which is it's not easy, but it's so accessible to us. We can't go into our brain and change those synaptic connections. But by doing this, by using your ucharanam, by using your vocal cords, by using your prana, you are actually changing the way your neurons function. And you heard so many of them share today. I think Sina shared that things start changing. You start changing, things around you start changing, things within you start changing. So this is like a hugely scientific process for there to be, and it's not just, oh, I chant and I feel great, or oh, I chant and chanter and chant becomes one. There's just so many minor steps to this that the world is just not even aware of. Another important part, technically, to keep in mind when you chant is there are some alphabets, which are Jihva Mulya alphabets and Upadmaniya alphabets. And the Visarga is going to become your next best friend. The Visarga, for those who write Devanagari, is those 2 little dots you write after an alphabet that takes on the tone of the preceding alphabet, but essentially it is a ha. So just being very simplistic. For those who are following an English script, the Visarga is an H with a dot down below. So if I write Hari and I put a Visarga, it becomes Harihi. If I write Rama and put a Visarga, it becomes Ramaha. So these different ways of how words are pronounced when you have a Visarga after it is what you will learn. It's very important when you learn chanting to learn the Visarga rules of chanting. So when you have a, for example, when you have a Visarga prior to two alphabets, Ka and Kha, the Visarga takes a different form. When you have the Visarga takes a half form, like half, it's not a ha, but you're aspirating it. So that's the form it takes. When you have a Visarga before the letters Pa and Pa, then the Visarga takes on a form. Sanskrit actually doesn't have F, it's Pa, P-H-A. So you learn all these rules as you go. So I would urge you to pay a lot of importance to these small subtle nuances, which is actually the crux of chanting. And then I forgot to say that, I didn't put this in the slide. There's a concept, we spoke about akshara, right? Na kshayati iti akshara. That's something that can never be, it's never destroyed. So an akshara is a single alphabet. And if I look at an alphabet that is k, it's actually k. And I cannot even get it out of my throat unless I add a swara to it. So the swara makes it ka, or the swara makes it ka, or ki, etc. But that's a simple alphabet. There is something called a samyuktakshara, where you have two alphabets that is conjoined together. The most commonest alphabet that you will find as you're chanting is Brahmanam, Brahmanaspata Anal, Brahmanam, Brahmanam. So this Brahmanam is a B and half a R. So you cannot give it the same space as you would give a B. So BRA, br, is going to require a few milliseconds extra space than B requires. And for those who are chant, when we chant together, that's actually a pet peeve of mine, that if you rush through Brahmanam, you do not know you're chanting properly. You have to make sure, like, for example, it is Gananan Tva Tva Gananan Gananan Tva. So if you notice, it's a little exaggerated here, but I gave a little extra pause before Tva, because Tva is half a ta and a va. It is not only a va. So you want to give it that, you want to give half a ta that space. Every akshara is going to demand that space in time. When you follow these rules, the chanting journey is just very beautiful. And there are a lot of crutches initially, but I would urge you to try to figure this. You learn it, and by practice, you'll automatically know what to do. Oh, Visarga has come and a Pa has come. I know what to do. It's just going to become second nature. So when you chant, please pay attention to all these little nuances in chanting, which makes chanting, it's very fulfilling from that perspective. I think this should be my last slide, right?
Yeah, it is your last slide.
Great, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was such a good and condensed introduction. I also learned something new. Thank you so much for that. So this is an example. For example, you just say the name of our Lord, which is Narayana, while you're chanting. Narayanam Brahm Param Brahmatattvan Narayana Paraha. So it's, that word is like, these are approximate 1000 milliseconds. The tongue changes 5 times in that. If you look at the positions, Narayana, so it goes to each of those areas and tongues. So when you're chanting continuously, so like we chant for 4 hours, then you can just count the number of times the movement happens, and that is what also kind of brings in the neuroplasticity element into it. So Sridharji, very quickly, if you could just take us through this. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. So if you could take this in about 6 minutes and only take maybe Pada, Krama, and then to Ghana.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. So basically, like what Priyaji had talked about. So the chanting rules basically talks about 6 aspects of it. One, as she said, is Varna, which is pronunciation. So pronunciation is a very important aspect as you are reciting Vedas. And when you do the pronunciation, it is related to Swara as well, which is note or a pitch, which they talk about, be it Udata, Anudata, Swarita. In fact, the 4th one is there, which is called Dirgha Swarita, which we'll identify as we go forward in our learning. So Swara, Varna are important and Matra is important. That means even a word, even a letter, how much Matra is the time at which you have to elongate the Alpa Prana, Mahaprana with all that. How do you elongate? How do you say that particular letter is Matra? The time at which, the duration of saying that letter or a word, right? Then Bhalam, the intensity at which that particular word or a letter has to be done, like a stress that what Priya ma'am was talking about, right? And then Sama is nothing but the musicality. Many of the people might basically recite Vedas the way how it is intonated, be it with Swarita, and also with Udata, Anudata, but then it might only be mechanical. It will never be having the musical orientation. So, but the Veda is the first form of music. So, anybody who has to recite Veda has to also do it in a musical way. That is what it talks about. Finally, Santana, that is nothing but the punctuation of when to give a comma, when to give the stress, when to give the pause, when to give elongation, like the way how Priya ma'am had concluded in her, the slides. So that's how it should be. In fact, Taitra Upanishad talks about, especially in Sikshavali, it talks about a sentence about what are these in a Veda. And Rohitji, please, you could do the.
Shri Shiksham Vyakhyasyamah Varnaswarah Matrabalam Tamasantanah Ityuktakshikshadhyayah.
So Sikshavali talks about how the Vedas are, how people have to realize how they have to recite and what all the various parts of Vedas, quite a lot of things that it talks about, and what is a Sandhi and all those, that's what it talks about. Okay, now you learned about what is Veda and what is the difference between mantra and shloka and all those what Priya ma'am was talking about, and what are all the various ways through which you create it in the palate and in the tongue and from the breath from the nabi and from the chest and from the neck and all those. But in this case, what we are going to talk about is how a Veda is basically recited. So there are very many ways through which Vedas are recited. There are around 11 panis, 11 styles through which Vedas are recited. Mainly Samhitapata, Patapata, and Kripapata are kind of styles where it is progressive in nature, which is nothing but if Veda has the words starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All these talks about all the Veda recitation style in the forward progressing way. Okay, the Jatapata and Malapata, sorry, Jadapata, Malapata, Sikshapata, Rekapata, Dvajapata, Dandapada, Ratapata, and Ganapata. These are the padas through which you are not only going in the forward way, 1, 2, 3, 4 as a words, if it is going to be sequential, it is not only forward 1, 2, 3, 4, it also comes out back as 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 5, or 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like that, there are combinations through which it happens. So I given a quick style difference here. Padapata is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is Samhita Pata. The way how you talk is the way how you recite is Samhita Pata. Padapada is nothing but it is described in the word itself. Every sentence or every phrase that has a pada. So each pada you talk about it, and that is Padapata. Kramapata, if you talk about this as that, Prakriti, Vikriti, in fact, there is reverse pattern. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Sorry, this is not having Vikriti, this is having only Prakriti, which is forward pattern. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Right? It goes on only in the forward direction. But if you see Jatapata, you have that reverse direction. 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. So in Gadapata, it is 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Like that. This Jatapata is for 2 words that it is talked about. Ganapata is for the first 3 words it has talked about. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. That is how it is going to be. We will just see a quick demonstration of these style, which are 5 styles that we have discussed here for the first line of Rudram. That's what we are going to see now. Okay, give me a minute. So. By the way, people who are musical or who are not musical, just wanted to say that every Veda aspect of it, especially majority of the Veda, are on rag called Revati. So Sarima Panisa, all Komal, right? Sarima Panisa. So that's what Sanipa Marisa. That's what it is talking about. And we are just using three, which is like Sa, Ri, and Sa, Ri, down. One is up, one is down. That is what we are talking about. We'll talk about in detail during the classes, but we'll just go and then do this right now. Now I'm going to talk about the Samhita Bhata, which is like a normal way how people say. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudhaya Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha. This is Samhita Bhata, the way how that particular sentence, first sentence is talked about. If it is going to be in Patapata, the Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha is divided into each pata, each word. Namaste Rudra Manyave Uto Iti Te Ishave Namaha. This is how Patapata is talked about. So the entire sentence is divided into each pata here. That's how it is done. All those are forward vikriti. So if you see the Kamapata, the same sentence will be a little more complicated. It will be like Om Namaste Rudra Rudra Manyava Uto Te Uto Ityuto Tha Ishave Namaha Nama Iti Namaha. So that 5 or 6 words is completely gone into more than 12, 14 times or 14 words. This is because of the combination that we talk about. Now, if you go to much more complicated, which is Jatapata, these are all forward Vikriti only. But now, Jata and Ghana, you will see the backward Vikriti also. So you are talking about Jatapata, it will be Namaste Te Namo Namaste Te Rudra Rudra Te Te Rudra Rudra Manyave Manyava Rudra Rudra Manyave Manyava Uto Manyave Manyava Uto Te Uto Te Uto Ityuto Ta Ishava Ishave Te Ta Ishave Namo Nama Ishave Namaha Nama Iti Namaha. This is Jatapata. So the one sentence has gone to a multiple sentence. It is actually 9 sentences. One sentence of Samhita has gone to 9 sentences. That is Jatapata. Right? This is going to be Ganapata, which is much more complicated than all the other Makritis, and this is the toughest and complicated way. Om Namaste Te Namo Namaste Rudra Rudra Te Namo Namaste Rudra Te Rudra Rudra Te Rudra Manyave Rudra Te Rudra Manyave Rudra Manyave Rudra Rudra Manyava Uto Manyave Rudra Rudra Manyava Uto Manyava Uto Te Manyava Uto Ta Ishave Uto Ta Ishave Uto Ityuto Ta Ishave Te Ta Ishava Namo Nama Ishave Te Ta Ishave Namaha Ishave Namo Nama Ishave Namaha Nama Iti Namaha. This is how the Ganapata for that single sentence Namaste Rudra Manyava Uto Ta Ishave Namaha is recited in all the pathas. Samhita Pata, Patapata, Kramapata, Jatapata, and Ganapata. Now, the last one that I wanted to say and then stop is if you are, what are all the, why we are having these kind of various, pathas, various styles? Why you are complicating the normal way of saying one sentence is this, that in Samhita Patha, when you recite a Veda in Samhita Patha, you get the benefits of Samhita Patha is one time. That means you get one benefit. If you are able to say Rudram in Samhita Patha, you get a benefit of yielding one-fold, right, of magnitude. Now, if you say it in Padapata, it is again one. Only one time or one-fold the benefit. But if you say in Kramapata, then your benefits are two-folds. That is, you are talking about 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. So it is all multiplying into two, progressively in a little better elongated way. And so you will be able to get that benefits 2 times of the benefit of what you are saying it in Samhitapada. But in Jatapata, the benefits will be 4 times. That means the combination of 2 to the power of 4. So you will be talking about 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. Like that you say, and then you are also talking about Samhita, the way you are progressing. So it will become 4 times the benefit of you saying the Rudram in Samhita Pata alone. But if you say in Ganapata, then it will be multifolds. That means innumerable way of benefits that you get it. Why it is like that is because of the concept that you might have heard about it when you were in childhood days, when you talked about science, right? Because of total internal reflection, that the waves, the sound waves or the mechanical wave go through and hits the cosmos and then return back. And the way you are talking about in the progressive and in the reverse ways, when you say the waves are basically going to the antariksha, returning back, and it ever reproduces and it goes through the total internal reflection. And that is how, like the way how the kaleidoscope, when you see through the glasses, you will always see, you will never have the pattern repeated. In the same way, in Ganapata, the multitudes of the benefits you will never be able to measure. Immeasurable benefits you get. That is why Ganapata is preferred. Now, last but not the least, in our chanting session on Sundays, we basically make sure that we do 2 Ganapatas, which is for Ganapati, and the last one is for Mahamrityunjaya Mantra. So why we do Ganapata is because we give innumerable namaskaras and pranams to the Vigneshwara, not to have any Vignam in our proceeding, and you are giving innumerable namaskaras to him, so that he is a Vignakarta who will be able to bless us. And the last but not the least, the Ganapata for Mahamrityunjaya Japa, because we want to do the chanting for the ill people, terminally ill people, and also for the Lokakshema, and also for multiple benefits of the people, which needs to be in multitudes. And that is why it has to be Ganapata recitation for Mahamrityunjaya Japa. So when we hear, attend the Sunday chantings, we do these 2 in Ganapatas. Remaining one, all that we do would be in Samhita Pada. That's how I would conclude. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hope you are get
so
some
much,
meaning out of it.
Thank you for giving us an overview. One of the hypotheses I have for why we have all of this is because this was transmitted orally for thousands of years. We don't know how many thousand years, but a few thousand years for sure. Imagine this conversation that we're having right now, repeated after 3,000 years. Exactly the same way that 3 are speaking, with the same intonations, with the same emotions and everything. That's how the Vedas were. So there is no, you have to have tools and methods to do that. And each of these are methods to do that. So even if someone chants it wrongly, there is a coding with all this Ganapata, and you can decode it and say, okay, what was the origin? So there is no way of losing it even thousands. So with that, we'll close our session formally. We'll do a few Q&A right now and talk about the next steps. Yeah,
only one point I want to add to what Rohit sir said is that not only many millions of years ago these Vedas were recited by the same way how it has been talked about, communicated to you, but also unlike your Windows or your Mac and all those, any of the tools that we use today, it has multiple versions of improvisation. But Vedas, no improvisation, only one version. And that is same as that of yesteryears, it is the same even today. So that's the beauty of Vedas. Om Namah Shivaya.
That doesn't need a version 1.0, 2.0. Yeah. So Priya Natarajan, if you could please go ahead next. We have a surprise Today is Priya ji's birthday, Priya Kalahas's birthday. So Priya, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Rohit. So Priya ji, so I'm going to sing this Sanskrit song. Am I audible? Okay. So this is a Sanskrit happy birthday song. Um, so it goes like this. Janmadinamidam ai priya sakhe Janmadinamidam ai priya sakhe Shantanu te sarvada mudam प्रार्थना महे भवशतायुषी प्रार्थना महे भवशतायुषी ईश्वर सदा त्वं च रक्षतु पुण्यकर्मणा कीर्तिमर्जय पुण्यकर्मणा कीर्तिमर्जय जीवनं तव भवतु सार्थकं जन्मदिनमिदं अयि प्रिय सखे शन्ततोतु ते सर्वदा मुदं सर्वदा मुदं सर्वदा मुदं. Thank you so much.
Dhanyavadaha. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so touched. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Thank you.
Happy birthday, happy
Jeevanam
birthday.
tava bhavatu sarthakam.
Dhanyavadaha. Bahudhanyavadaha.
Great. So thank you so much. So with that, we conclude the session, but we'll have a few Q&A. Next steps are each of the classes in the US, in Bangalore, and the Delhi ones have a different schedule, and we are learning different things now. And you could join for the schedules that they are having. So we'll both tell you the time zone and the time. We'll put that on the chat itself. So based on what works for you, you can confirm and you can then get into the respective groups. So you're all currently on a temporary group. If you are not on any of the group, then you can ping me. I'll put my number on the chat. If you're not in any groups by any chance, then you can ping me one-on-one and I'll add you to the group. Actually, I'll put the group ID in this group link in the chat. So you can join if you're not on any other group. And you can join the schedule of the respective group. What we could do now is take a few questions. Those who have a hard stop at 5:30 can drop off. But if you have questions and you want to continue with the questions, we could take them even after the session. Even after 5:30, we could be there for 10-15 minutes and continue with the Q&A. So any questions, please raise your hand and we will take the questions. Meanwhile, if anybody else wants to share, we could do that also after the session. So yeah, Pavish, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. For beginners like me, will we be starting from the scratch, or will we be just entering into some group and then starting along?
We will start a little bit from the scratch, and then once we think that you are caught up, then we'll have you in the main as well. But initially, it will be from scratch.
So, and the second thing was, will this be will we be learning Sanskrit per se, or will we be learning only the Rudram chanting?
Yeah, we won't be learning Sanskrit in these classes. There are other Sanskrit classes that you can join in parallel. Here it is only chanting and the chanting rules. And the meanings, we'll give an overview of the meaning, but deeper understanding is Swadhyaya, which you would do on your own in between sessions or after sessions. It won't be a word by word meaning and so on. It will be more the chanting. How do you chant? What's the rules of chanting? And are you chanting it correctly and so on. So that's the focus area. It isn't on the word by word meaning. We'll give a broad meaning, but the detailed word by meaning is something that we'll need to go through. For the Rudram, for example, we have a weekly Bhavartha Swadhyaya, which looks at text. Sinaji has put down a very good document which documents what we've gone through so far in the Bhavartha. So each word she's broken down. That's something you could go through and then continue with the reading sessions for the Rudram. For the others, we don't have a similar session, but we'll go through a brief meaning and then Sridharji or Priyaji, if you want to add on, please go ahead.
No, that's well summarized. So you covered it all.
Okay. Thank you. Deeptiji, if you would like to go next.
Yes, I just want, I was searching for a take on the Sri Rudram, like what does he have to say, but apparently there are no videos or, I mean, I understand the importance of Sri Rudram. I mean, I try to understand, I've read a little, but what is Sir's take on it? Anything you would like to share?
Sridharji, if you could share your experience and what was your message from Sir regarding the Rudra?
Yeah, so yeah, sure. I'll take very few minutes to talk about it. So basically, there are a few thought processes about this Rudram. So Rudram is basically in the center of the Vedas. So if you talk about Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana, so out of all Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana, even Yajur, it is in the center. Whatever we are going to talk about as Krishna Yajur Veda, that we are going to talk about it, it is in the part of the second khanda or the middle of it. And if you take that Rudram, it has around 11 and a half, 12. You know, ideally it's 11, but theoretically it is 12 Anuvakas that you have. Out of that, the middle of the Anuvakam is probably around 6.5, 7, right? So in that 7 is the middle of the Krishna Yajurveda, middle of the Rudram is nothing but a very important Anuvaka called Namo Namah Somaya cha Rudraya Janama Tamraya cha. That Anuvakam will come, where you talk about the Panchakshari. So the Panchakshari is actually hidden as a gem, as a pearl in the deep depth of the ocean. So you cannot just take the Panchakshari just like that. For in order to get the pearl, you have to go deep down the ocean to get the pearl, right? In the same way, Panchakshari is talked about in the middle of Yajurveda, in the middle of Vedas, in the middle of Yajurveda, in the middle of Rudram, Maharudram, in the middle of Maharudram, the 7th Anuvakam, and that the last, the verse is talking about that Panchakshari. So that is very important. So that is one aspect of it, which talks about Panchakshari. Another, and it is also talking, Rudram is talking about around more than 297 Namo, all those talks about,
if you could talk about your experience of what Sir told you about more than a decade back, I think that should be very useful.
Okay. So some of them are pretty personal though. What I would like to say is that initially when I was reciting the Rudram, specifically people like me, Ganesha, and Rohit sir, we were reciting it. And at that time, a lot of people like you all have talked about and then, asked about how can a lady can learn Rudram and all those. So coming from an Orthodox family, I have never seen ladies reciting Rudram or any Vedas for that matter. So I had a question, and so I wrote to sir saying that, one of the ladies asking me that whether I can teach Rudram at all or not. So for which he replied very well saying that absolutely, please go ahead and do that. And it is not with respect to gent differentiation, gent or ladies differentiation, but whosoever is very dedicated and sincere, definitely find one and then go and teach. That's how we started off with 3 people. And today, if you look at it, as he was showing you the Mahardram, the event, we were around 78, 80 people. We were reciting Rudram for 1.5 days. And in the same way, I'm seeing a lot of ladies and many people of various, cadre or various aspects of life are through this Rudram interest. So that is one aspect of it. And the last aspect is Rudram is a very, very pavitra, which is a very, very pure verses. It's a pure Rig Veda. In fact, Rudram is in Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and also in Sama Veda. Okay, the way how it is recited are different, and the verses are a little different here and there. But ideally, Rudram, if you talk about it, it is meant for pureness. And anybody who has a new yoga mat, anybody where they have bought a new house, anybody what they want to start something new, what they want to do, you do Rudrabhishek or you do Rudram Chamakam Parayanam there. That place will become pavitra. That place will become completely pure, is what is the beauty and the aspect of Rudram in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Of
Thank you
course,
so much.
of course, as
And-
you do abhyasa, definitely your karmas get vanished, of course, for sure. And you will, as many people talked about it in their experience, you will automatically come out of your bad habits. You will automatically come out of your bad satsang, bad nissang, and you will basically be, sustaining satsang only. You will be in good hands. You will be in good faith. You will be in good people. So that's what it happens automatically, right?
Thank you. And Deepti ji, though sir doesn't have any video or hasn't spoken about the Rudram that even I've heard of, but look at the opportunities to chant. For example, every Shivratri we chant in front of sir. For the Prana Pratishtha, the only chanting was us. So it was us chanting the Rudram for 1.5 days. That was the main part of the Prana Pratishtha from a Vedic perspective. Sir came twice while we were chanting. So all of that gives indications about it. While we don't know, he's not spoken exactly about it, but this is a indicator of its importance.
Yes,
If I can just add something.
Go ahead.
So Sir has encouraged women to learn Rudram. He's a very big proponent of a woman learning Rudram, and specifically he's used Rudram as an example. And then the second thing is just the whole Vedic chanting, whether it is a Shanti mantra or anything else. He spoke about it in one of the Upanishad talks in Blossom Foundation. I don't think it's online as yet. And he actually recited Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha. His style of recitation is a little more Shukla Ayurvedic style of recitation, but he recited it and he spoke about the changes it has in the brain. And then a last retreat in Blossom, last series, somebody had actually asked him that they had a new mat and they wanted to say, what do we do when we buy a new mat? Like, how do we purify the mat? Like, what are we supposed to do? And he said, sit on the mat and chant Rudram. And I think then suddenly people became very interested. Oh, what is this Rudram? What am I supposed to chant sitting on the mat? So these are his words. So if you have to purify your new mat, meditation mat, sit on it and chant the Rudram. So that's what I wanted to add.
And the last but not the least, and I think Priya ma'am would, in fact, Priya ma'am and Rohit sir will endorse me. And, the day before Mahashivratri 2024, he talked about Mahila Mandala chanting, right? So he said,
Mahila chanting mandala, yes.
yeah, the time has come now that all ladies have to come, and then they should also start reciting Vedas and Rudram and stuff that he was talking about. In fact, there were a lot of scenarios that enabled us to basically go out and chant and come back. There were a lot of experiences on that day. Yeah, absolutely. So he has been a great proponent of this.
Thank you. Thanks, Priyaji and Shivaji. Madhura ji, you had a question?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. A very happy birthday to you, Priyaji. We have this evening Sunday classes mantra chanting. So my only question was to you, Rohit ji, what will be the frequency? Because Sunday evening we have from 6:30 onwards mantra chanting classes. So what would be the frequency of these classes? Will it be on Sunday, and what would be the timings? So
once a week, Sunday morning for Delhi. Other groups follow other timings.
Okay.
Exact timings, we already have a ongoing class, so we'll determine the exact time. But it's Sunday mornings. Once a week, Sunday mornings. And you're expected to practice during the week at your own time. So that will not be a fixed time, but on your own, there's a practice which is required. It can't be only come on Sunday morning, don't do anything whole week, then come next Sunday morning, don't do anything whole week. That won't work. You have to practice during the week.
Absolutely, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madhura ma'am, I think along with that, I would also add that, like the way how Rohit sir talked about, we will publish our classes timings in the chat itself, so that you can choose whichever is the time that is suitable to you, so that you can join that class. Not a problem.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Jayashree ji, would you like to?
Sir, I don't know Sanskrit. So can you suggest any book for me that I can use during this time? And will it make any difference?
Yeah, do you know any other Indian language?
Tamil.
Yeah,
I can find Sridhar ji read some Tamil book. So he's learned from
I can
Tamil.
provide you that. Yeah, not a problem.
Please do. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And is there she was talking so well about Sanskrit. Do you also teach Sanskrit?
There are, of course, Priya ma'am herself is a great, teacher herself. And there are other Sanskrit teachers are there, like Sina ji and all those. So yeah, sure, certainly you can get the names of them. Go ahead and then talk to them on their classes and you can join the class.
Thank you so much. And a very happy birthday, Priya ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kanu, would you like to go next?
Priyaji, happy birthday. And thanks to all of you wonderful Guru Bhai Behan and teachers here. My question is like when we listen Sri Rudram, sometimes it happens that we fall in meditation. So so if we are in meditation and we are listening also, will it be counted like we did Sri Rudram, or it's like
No,
back to
you have to
zero?
chant. You can't just listen and say equivalent.
Actually, what it happens, Ruchi, not necessarily always, but not guaranteed कि it will happen, but it may happen कि I will fall in meditation while listening. I'm not able to chant. I mean, it's not in my hands even. So
No, I'm giving more of a light-hearted answer, Kanupriya ji, because you've been missing a few classes and you've not learned the chant fully. So mine is more a light-hearted answer. But Priya and Shri, if you could give your responses. So if you're not chanting,
maybe if I can give you a very short answer, it'll be like, the Rudra Prasnaha is the complete Rudram, right? Rudra Parayanaha. So Parayanam is the Rudra, right? When you are doing the Parayanam, you are talking about Jape, Parayane. Like, you do that Parayanam. It's not just listening to it. So you have to participate, or you have to be active in Parayanam and Japam. That is number one. Number two, Rudra Abhisheka is nothing but not only Parayanam, but also Japam, plus you are doing Abhishek. So all the three happens together is Rudra Abhishek. So you don't just do it without saying that. You say it, you do it, and also you say it in your mind, right? So you are participating in all aspects. That is called Rudra Abhishek. So when you are going into meditation while the Rudram is at the background, that is equivalent to meditation, Rudra meditation. It is not equivalent to Parayanam.
okay, any other questions? I know we are way beyond time. If anybody has to drop off, please do. Otherwise, we are here to continue on questions. Oops. Hello, can you hear me? Namaste, sorry, I got disconnected. My internet got disconnected. Yeah, any other questions? Ruchi ji and then Radhika ji.
Yeah, I wanted to know what happens if we miss a certain class due to some travel or anything else.
Yeah, there are modes to catch up with any missed classes. So we'll do that. We also have a framework of a few Abhyasa buddies like Shikraji. So in a group, you will get to learn even if you missed some class. We typically do a recap for each class and then go on to the next learning. So you could connect there. You'll have to spend a little more time.
Okay.
You will not be left alone. Don't worry.
Okay. And any instructions like during the periods, can the ladies chant?
Yes, sir has given this. Priya ji, would you like to say exactly what sir asked him?
This question came up last time, and sir said yes, they can chant. So yes, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Radhika ji, please go ahead. Please unmute. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions, comments, or we'll close the, yeah.
May I speak now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I wanted to ask how long how much time does one need to do every day or expected to spend to learn the Rudram? Is there any other easier thing that I can learn before learning Rudram?
Yeah.
Is there any other way of learning?
Yes. So for the Delhi classes, we are not starting the Rudram right now. We learn the Purusha Sukta, the Mantra Pushpam, Purusha Suktam, and then go to the Rudram. We started with the Rudram, but realized that it would be difficult for someone to learn the Rudram directly. It would be better to do some preparatory, slightly easier Suktams and then get to the Rudram. The other classes have their own schedule on what they'll be taking next. We'll share that with you on the group and you can choose based on that.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Jyoti ji.
Namaste. Thank you so much for today's session. I think I've been messaging you, but I just wanted to know in terms of timings, because I live in a little village and I've been brought here all my life. So, but I'm very eager. So your support, I'd be very, very grateful.
Great. For you, the classes would be slightly early in the morning on Sunday morning. So if you're joining the Delhi classes, it will be early morning. If you're joining the Bangalore classes, then it will be evening. So it could be, it might not be that early for you. So maybe that is something that will work. Or the US classes. So we'll share the schedule of all the three, and you could choose what works best for you. For example, even Deepanjali ji, she's based out of Switzerland, which is somewhat the same time zone, and she joins the Delhi classes. She finds that convenient. She gets up earlier in the morning on Sunday, and she's consistently been in those classes. So it's the best that accommodates her. So I think that works best. And if you don't read the language, it's fine, because you've got very good English texts which have all of the intonations and so on as well. You could look at that to learn it. There are some even better ones, like one that we got, there's a group in the US who had created this. They've got a color coding on how to pronounce. It's very, very easy to learn. That's there for the Rudram. We need to find out if it's there for other texts as well. But it looks like there is support.
That's great. So you'll share the timings in the group, temporary group that you've created.
Yes.
And then I can have a look. And then is it okay if I liaise with yourself? Because maybe the Delhi one, because if you want to learn something, obviously we have to do the push-up, we have to put in the effort. So I will look at the timings, and because of my difficulty in pronunciation, I might ask if I can either do Delhi and Bangalore, or just for that support in terms of timings for me to try and practice during the week, if that's all right with yourself, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions, or shall we close the session for today? We'll be active on the group, so please ask any questions that you might have there. Thank you for joining, and
Rohit, we can close with the Shanti Mantra.
Yes, yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Would you like to say the Shanti Mantra? Purnamada. Sure. Priyaji, thank you.
Yeah. Om Swastif Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisham Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day. And
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Happy
Rohit,
birthday,
for
Priya.
organizing. Thank
Right,
you.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Rohit,
you,
for putting this together.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Sridhar.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Priya.
Thanks,
Wish you
Sridhar.
happy
All
birthday.
being
Bye.
shared.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Happy birthday. Thank you so much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.